Hey guys, and welcome to FanCast. We're very grateful to be recording from the historic St Kilda Sports Club, the oldest locker room in the Southern Hemisphere. Join us on the bench, where we talk all things footy. We're fans, and this is FanCast.
G'day, FanCasters, and welcome to another episode here on the pod. Gee, I've missed having us three together, where we have a proper footy chat. Yay! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Anna. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Imagine if
Thank
it
you, guys.
wasn't your birthday and we just decided to do that.
Yeah, well, it is though. Well,
Yeah.
it will be.
How you been?
Good. Have you been?
Great.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
The Blues lose.
Blues
we
lose.
win.
Yeah.
And Carlton lose.
That's right.
And Collingwood lose.
Didn't you
Yeah.
say two of the same thing?
What? The Blues lose.
And Carlton lose?
And Carlton lose. Feels so good to be
Yes.
right, honestly.
Yeah. It was a good week. We all had a win. We all had a
Absolutely.
win.
Yeah, it'll be a rare occasion, so we got to stay in a
You don't
positive
know
mood.
that.
We don't know, but
Wait, we got the Swans at Marvel. You got Carlton Marvel.
Yeah.
no, that's Spud's game at the G.
Oh, to the G.
Oh, is it at the G? I don't even know where it is.
Oh, that
yeah,
takes.
that's Spud's
G.
game.
Shit, that's right.
Are you really a St Kilda supporter?
Yeah, I am. I'm just,
Were you at the
always
game?
there. Yes, I was at the game. And it was quite a lot of fun.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can imagine.
It was quite a lot of fun. Lost my voice again. But, lose the voice, win the game. That's how it goes.
Yep.
Only St Kilda supporters would have found that game fun, though. Let's be real.
But, come on. Summer Cooper Sharman's goals and marks were kind of amazing.
I saw the
Oh, my God. Because
That
that
was
was,
insane.
just, he
Yeah.
was never getting that goal, and he did. That's
Yeah.
so crazy. It was crazy. We had a little somersault from Jack Higgins. That was
Yeah, that
fun.
was funny. That was
That
the
was
only
fun.
life there was in the game almost in the first half.
In the
Yeah,
first
just about.
Yeah, the first half was a bit slow. It was really third and fourth quarter that looked amazing. But I feared it would be a slow, boring game because Freo, that's their style of footy.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get caught playing their style of footy, but I feel like Ross has this thing about like his past where he's just refuses to lose to his past.
Oh, yes.
So he wasn't gonna go down
Absolutely.
easy with Fremantle anyway. But
Well,
it
they
was fun.
made it easy for him, though.
Yeah, I mean they did. They made it a nice day for St Kilda supporters. We needed that. We've had a rough couple of weeks. So
We called it last week, didn't we?
you did
yeah,
call
we nailed
it.
we nailed the tipping.
And
And yeah.
I appreciate that support in my absence.
You know we get the tips correct when we don't see any comments on the TikTok. So yeah, we
Oh
nailed that.
really?
No, you did well calling them out. Someone did try to tip West Coast winning as well.
Yeah,
but
no,
they
shout
failed
out
as
to
well.
them.
So shout out to them, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was looking like that at half time, but then Melbourne just pulled away, and yeah, they are Melbourne won 3 in a row now, so they're rolling.
Not good for our draft pick.
No.
We're definitely on Melbourne hate watch at
you?
Bomberland because we got
Oh.
their first draft pick.
Yeah, right.
And so we were loving life when they were losing all the time.
right. Now they're looking better.
Where would they be without Max gone, though?
Nowhere's. Nowhere's.
El Capitano,
He
my
is
boy,
so good. He is so
my boy,
good.
Big Maxi.
He is so good. 35 disposals for a ruckman. When was the last time we've seen that? I
don't
can't
know.
remember the last time. I don't think I've ever seen a ruckman
Well,
with 35 disposals.
Well,
I don't
first
know, I'd
off,
have
who
to
was the
check
last
Rowan
ruckman
Marshall's
capable of that? Probably Nick Nut.
Oh, he never had the tank for that. He was a burst type player. he wasn't an
that's
endurance
true.
beast.
Yeah, that's true.
I think we can all agree Gorney is a special player.
Indeed.
And as long as he is at the Demons, I think there's hope for them to win a couple games.
Hmm.
Are they going to make the 8?
Yeah, probably
That's
not.
another question.
Probably not. And we're
That's,
hoping not at Bomberland.
They won't.
Yeah.
They won't. Well, as you guys can see, we are not in our normal location. We are here, of course, at a wonderful friend of the channel and supporter of the Fancast Productions. We are at Manolos Tapas Bar here in St Kilda. Thank you so much for having us here, Manny. Really appreciate it. And it's a wonderful setup, as you guys can tell. And
Tram
we'll
96 to get here, so make sure you do. It's a great spot.
Well done.
Yeah,
I did not even
did
get
my
there.
research.
Well done. Jeez, you're more than a pretty
I mean,
face.
it also takes you to the sports club, you know.
Sorry?
96. It's just to the sports
Yeah.
club as well.
Yeah. But yeah, tram 96 to get here, so make sure you head down. It's
They've got some decent specials there.
The specials, we've got the Spanish beef cheeks, the crispy pork bits with paprika mash, garlic chicken Spanish style, and
$18, by the way.
$10 for the Spanish baby green peppers as well.
Is that a capsicum?
$10 margaritas as well.
Oh, that's the real. That's the real.
Really, Manny?
The drink,
$10 margaritas?
the drink or the pizza?
Wow. Obviously the drink.
I think we're going for the drink.
Jeez, what do you think? What do
Yeah,
you think
some
this
absolute
is?
specials. Make sure you head down to Manolos Tapas Bar.
Absolutely. Well,
Beautiful backdrop as well. Love it.
yeah, for sure. But there's definitely more specials here than there was in the football this week, because a lot of the games were kind of boring, I feel.
Were they?
I think so.
Like which
Our
one?
game was pretty crap.
What a rubbish
on
year of footy it's
Thursday.
I
been,
did
I
not
reckon.
even.
It's been
I didn't even.
You didn't even bother.
I didn't.
That was bad.
I
It's
did
been a
not.
terrible year for footy, I reckon. At least we had one good game this round.
I don't know.
She'll say
which
two.
one. Well, I think the Collingwood Geelong game was good.
That was the
Yeah.
only good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's be real. That was the only good game.
I
this
loved
week.
the St Kilda Fremantle game.
Obviously.
Yeah.
It's not like we didn't approach 100 points. We got pretty close, which is, decent.
Cooper Sharman alone almost
Yeah.
beat them.
I thought Swans Giants wasn't bad. I watched some of that. I watched some
Yeah,
of that game.
I watched a little bit of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. No,
The Fly
nothing
loves
else.
Joe.
Nothing else.
The Fly loves me because I'm the center of attention. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
He knows.
because of this team that managed to somehow limp over the line against North Melbourne. Now let's be real. We actually did limp over the line. What is up with our injuries?
Yeah, gee.
Oh, we were talking about last week, and I said
It's
who
bound
wants
to
to step
happen.
up?
It's bound to happen.
Harry Jones. His
Espe-
ankle was at right angles.
That was awful to watch.
I didn't see it.
Oh, you dodged the bullet there. On 7 AFL on the socials. Like,
I love how many.
let's have a look.
Oh, I don't,
no,
I don't
sorry.
like watching people injure themselves.
Sorry, that's a terrible word. Not love. I hated how many replays that got.
Too many replays.
So many replays. Even on the socials, I don't think it's needed to be posted.
I was at the game. I was there
With Jez.
Yeah.
with Jez.
Yeah.
Shout out to Big J.
The annual
Centre
event.
Bounce. Annual event, Dons v Roos. And we were sitting on the side, on the wing where it happened.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
And I don't know why, but Jez sort of seemed to believe that someone had fallen off the boundary onto the ground, which is why they were stopping play. I'm just
Oh.
like, I feel
What a
like,
fan.
Yeah. I'm like, I feel like if a fan fell over onto the ground, it'd be a lot more noticeable, or there'd be a bit more of a scream. Like, "Ah!" You know? That was perfect timing.
I
Well
know.
done.
Can I say something though? Speaking of injuries, something that I'm a little sick of seeing this season.
Sure.
Uh-oh.
I hate when I see a player who's just sprawled out on the fucking grass, and they're like and they won't get up. And then finally, when they get the free kick, they get up and everything is fine. There's been a lot of dramatics.
Yes.
And I hate watching it. It makes
Agreed.
me upset.
Shame. Name and shame.
Yeah.
Who was one that you remember?
I mean, it's like, I don't have a specific. It's like everyone. It's literally everyone.
It's everybody.
But the umpires pay the free kicks.
Well,
That's
they
why
pay
they
the free
do
kick,
it.
which
Yeah.
is annoying. Like,
Which is
stop
why
doing
they do
that.
it.
But I've seen now quite a few times where someone's tripped over their own self, and they've got a free kick because they were dramatic about it.
You
It's
could
like
have been,
ridiculous.
yeah.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
No.
No, sometimes a player can draw the free kick, mate.
Yeah, I hate
You
the
have
umpire.
Kinderven on your team.
Don't
Yeah,
have
no,
the
Him
player.
and Selwood's made a career of it. No, don't get me wrong. Selwood's a gun player, and a lot of times he was taken high. But you know, some people.
Well, and there's a
Yeah.
lot.
Free
There's been
kicks
a lot
really
of
well.
there's been a lot of ducking when you've got the ball now, like shoving your head into someone else
Yes.
and going, oh, they hit me high. It's like, it's really annoying. I'm just getting sick of it.
Well,
I
yeah.
don't go there for that kind of theatre,
No.
you know?
say
No.
that about the umpiring. I had a genuine reason to be upset about umpiring on Thursday night.
Explain.
Yeah.
Did you not see that ridiculous behaviour? Top of the goal square, supposed to be a ball up.
Oh, yes. Yes, I did.
In comes Constanti or whoever scrub North Melbourne player it is, kicks it away,
Hey.
and the umpire is just like, "Book free kick to North Melbourne." What? You just see everybody be like, no, mum, it was him, mum. You know the way that all the kids
Yeah.
are sort of was
Yeah, so
upset?
the whole thing was the umpire changed their mind, wasn't it?
Yes, they changed their mind because they were wrong.
How does that work?
They were he was convinced by another umpire. Hey, it wasn't actually the Bombers who kicked it. It was a North Melbourne player who did it.
Right.
So if it was good enough to be a North Melbourne free kick, why is it not good enough to be an Essendon free kick?
I don't know.
I mean, it happens every game. There's a couple of cringe moments in every game now where you just, you gotta just
Yeah.
not lose your shit.
Oh, it was
But
so
it's
bad.
hard.
Well, Collingwood supporters are losing their shit about the umpiring decision with Bobby Hill.
yeah.
I'm sure. But
Do you agree?
No, it's a trip.
I mean,
We have one
I
answer.
don't know.
And before you go, oh, Sicily did the same thing. I agree. That was not holding the ball. I was at the.
this stuff randomly gets called and not called in every game. It's kind of shitty when it doesn't work in your favor. But go on.
Yeah. No, I was at the game and it looked like holding the ball. So I guess for a lot of Collingwood fans at the game, that also looked like holding the ball. But when
Right.
you have a closer look, oh wait, hang on, it's a trip, and that was a similar thing yesterday with the Hawthorn and the Sicily tackle on Rioli. That was also a trip. So the lack of consistency in
Absolutely.
the umpiring continues to be the number one problem in the game.
That's what
100%.
it is. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that Collingwood are more upset that they missed that very last goal.
That shot, yeah. Oh, the
Yeah.
fairy
It's gonna
tale.
hurt.
The fairy
gonna
tale could have been
hurt.
complete.
Oh, it's gonna hurt.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think they're hurt. I actually think if you speak to a Collingwood supporter off the back of that game, I think
They'd
if
be
anything they're
proud
pretty chuffed.
how they ended the
yeah,
game.
they're proud. They're chuffed. They're like, umpires screwed us.
Yeah.
For the last 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And we still had an opportunity to win it.
Right.
I think Collingwood supporters right now are walking around thinking, life's
I'm
not
thinking
too
the
bad.
team. I don't know about the supporters.
I think the supporters aren't mad at all. I think
Well,
the supporters are pretty confident.
You'd rather lose the game by missing the shot, your team missing the shot,
Yeah.
than them kicking the goal and you
True.
lose the game.
I guess so. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'd rather.
Really?
Would you?
If the opposition team had the shot after the siren to win the game and they kicked it,
Yeah.
you'd be more shattered if your own team did it?
If my own team missed the last goal, I'd be more shattered that we could have and we didn't.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Personally.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Personally. But
Maybe. But I think
I
if
don't know,
if you have the game on your own boot, though, it means that you've done everything you can up until that moment, as opposed to having it be stolen away from you.
I understand. I don't know.
Because I've been on the receiving end of
I've been on
quite a few after
ha-
the siren ones.
Me too, actually. I think it was last season you guys beat us by like that one goal at the end.
What Stringer?
Oh, that's
Right at the
Stringer
end of
one,
that
but
game,
that
that
wasn't
was-
after the siren though.
It was close enough, man.
Seriously,
terrible.
speaking of Collingwood, they're still lapping up that Jamie Elliott goal after the siren.
Mate, Jamie Elliott is amazing.
Because that was an
I love
unbelievable
that
goal.
guy.
That's one of the
I
best
love
after
him.
the siren goals I've seen.
And they had
Yeah.
Houston.
He's one of the best.
Yeah,
in my
for sure.
opinion.
That Houston one's one of the more underrated ones.
55 metres out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, it was.
I still think they're a flag contender this year.
Oh, I
said
think
it-
they're both.
I
though.
said it,
Who are?
Collingwood.
Yeah.
I think they're the team to beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're the team to beat.
And I don't know about Geelong. Just because they've beat... I don't know. I cannot gauge Geelong at all. I know they're good,
They're good.
but they're consistently good all the time. And that
Correct.
doesn't mean shit when it comes to finals. Sometimes it doesn't mean anything. I don't know.
They make it to prelims a lot.
They do. And then...
And semis and,
Best
and
run
grand
I
time in
don't
the
finals.
know.
comp by a mile.
They're unbelievable. You can never discount the Cats, and they still have
I just
they
don't
have
know.
Tom Stewart to come back
They're
into
the
that
Melbourne
team.
Yeah.
Storm of the AFL, aren't they?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I
don't watch
is that the
enough.
We'll
first
take
ever
your word.
NRL reference?
Yeah, we'll take your
Yeah.
word for it.
Wah, wah.
I actually like the NRL. I'd watch it more if footy didn't clash.
Uh,
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Fins up.
Now, what's that a reference to?
We don't
That's the
care.
team I support. The
Yeah.
Dolphins.
Okay.
Is that the sound that
Okay.
dolphins make? I thought you were doing like a kookaburra sound
That
sort of
doesn't
thing.
sound badass at all.
It maybe does. Yeah.
Anyway, what
please
about your
move on
Hawks? How
from
did you
that?
feel about your game?
No, it was a really special day yesterday. I took my father to the 100th year anniversary of Hawthorn and Richmond.
Of peeing and pooing. 100 years of peeing and pooing.
Get on him. He's wearing an Essendon jacket. We went to the pre-game. It was really good seeing all of his childhood heroes bring out the cups, and he teared up a bit. So it was a really special day just to take the old man to the game, and we thank God we won.
Yeah.
What an awful situation if you lose your anniversary. Sorry, dogs. But yeah,
We lost our anniversary too, I think.
was that the
We
Carlton a few years ago?
Mills Carlton.
You beat Collingwood.
150th. We won.
Yeah.
We won that one. That was great.
Yeah.
I was there for
I
that.
still
as well.
remember Hurdy walking out with this, coming out of the darkness, Hurdy with the scarf around him, and it was so beautiful. I teared up watching Hurdy.
Yeah,
I miss Hurdy.
I saw. I didn't actually. We couldn't at the game. Couldn't hear the audio, but I guess people watching the Hawks Richmond game at home, Mitchell addressing the players and former players.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was very cool to see. And I don't think it was one nice to the eye for neutral supporters, because I thought the first half was an awful first half.
Did you
display.
guys mistake the sash for the red one? Like another line in the line in the sand sort of moment.
Yes.
All the fights that were going on between you and Richmond. It's just like, did they think we're Essendon or something? What's going on with all
Has
the
there
fights?
been more fighting this year in general? I think I've seen
I think there's been a lot
physical
more
abuse.
like, you missed the goal there, and then it starts a fight sort of thing. So
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I feel like there's a lot more physical, non-game related,
Yeah.
or related but not during game time physical altercation.
I guess it's
which
just
I'm
all about
enjoying.
getting in the opposition's head, really.
Yeah, I'm enjoying that.
Even
though.
non-physical. Even
Maybe.
the verbal.
But
Look at Bailey Smith.
yeah,
yes.
that's true.
Clipping
Who
the
doesn't
dogs.
like that?
And then you got the Bont return serve. Like, mate, I'm the classy one. Sit back in your
It's
yeah,
good
back in
I
your
love
footy.
that. I
It's-
love that actually.
It's good
So
I'm
for
all
footy.
for it.
It's good for footy, similar to the
Yeah.
Ken Hinkley, Jack Ginnivan thing. It's good rivalries in footy.
Yeah, because you know what? I don't know if I would watch Bulldogs versus Geelong if it weren't for that. Right, that makes me way more interested in that game. To be honest,
What time slot is that game?
I don't know. But
Look, it's in Geelong.
Oh, is it in Geelong?
Yeah. So
Oh, I
that
thought it was
changes
in
everything.
Ballarat.
Oh, I wanted that
it's
to be
not
No.
in Ballarat.
I
Yeah,
wanted
it
that
is.
to be
It's
at
in
Marvel.
Ballarat.
It's
isn't
not
it?
in Ballarat.
Yeah, it is.
No,
No, it's not
his
in Ballarat.
comment was about Ballarat
Was that-
because
did I
the
misread
doggies
it?
were playing at Ballarat.
Oh,
They're
I see,
playing
I
at the
see.
GMHBA Thursday,
I
May
misread it.
22nd at 7:30 p.m.
man, that's-
Good luck driving to Geelong on a Thursday night. AFL, you guys suck. Like, honestly, there is no... I've only just realised it's Thursday night. This is
Yeah.
one of the most exciting, anticipated games of the year.
And they put it on
And they
Thursday.
slot it on Thursday in Geelong. No one's driving to Geelong on a Thursday night.
That's a good time slot for the TV though. Thursday night footy, like they'll be the build up for the whole week.
I
Stuff that,
imagine that
wanna
this
go.
rivalry will make people go on a Thursday night. I bet it's crowded. I actually was in Geelong last week for work. Yep, stayed overnight. We shot on the field. It was pretty
Beautiful.
cool.
In the
Slay.
field.
On the field,
On
yeah.
the field.
We had a little. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Nice.
Well, I'm sure if you did it on there, it wasn't because you broke into the ground. did you?
No.
So you were allowed to do that.
yeah,
So you're allowed to say them.
yeah.
You
It was
didn't-
cool.
As long as you don't say what you recorded, I guess. Maybe.
No, I guess.
Officers, scatter an owl.
It looked very much like NFL. It was interesting.
Wait a second. I could have sworn I heard of the project like that. All right, we'll move on before we get before
someone
you get in
told
trouble.
me, which
Yeah.
might not be true. Somebody told me, a groundsman, that the Geelong field is higher on one side than the other.
I wouldn't even be surprised. That ground is not
like
regulation.
About 40 centimeters higher, which on the I think it's on the host side, so the home team side.
And they train on that ground.
Yeah.
Very rare for teams to train on the ground that they play games at.
Yeah. But I just wonder, like, do you think that that's true, and do you think that that would give them an advantage?
I've never been inside the stadium.
I
I've
have.
never heard about that. That's a pretty stark.
It's a bit. But
Incline.
Are you
Surely-
going to lie down on the floor and just...
I mean, I wouldn't be able
Macca's
to tell.
kicked a kick and just say after the game, oh, yeah,
It could
this
just
is
be
Pull
a
out a
rumor.
marble and see if it
Yeah.
rolls a little bit.
It could be a rumor. I don't
You
know.
want to play pool on it.
Just a gossip, some gossip I heard, but
Look, you
I don't
can't. The Cats, they'll pull up every sort of advantage with that ground because I think they've won maybe 85%
Yeah,
of their
but I'm
games
wondering,
there.
is that why? Maybe it's not because it's narrow. Maybe it's because it's.
It's a
they-
runway.
Yeah.
It's honestly, I don't even consider it an
I don't know.
oval. It's a runway because of how narrow it is, not narrow and long. It doesn't even count as a game, in my opinion. It's not regulation.
Doesn't count as a game.
It
What
doesn't
are you
count
talking
as
I mean, it is
a
a
ground.
game.
It's not even fair. It's not fair. How they'll lose one game
You know
a
how much
round
money they
or
spend
two.
on that stadium? They can't ditch it. They have to keep it that
Oh
way.
no, because they live it. Because I think pretty sure Geelong's a marginal seat.
Yeah.
So every time there's up for elections, or they'll just throw money at the stadium. Like, if we win the election, we'll spend $69 million on this stadium, and everyone will be like, "Yeah, I want to vote for this person."
But it was a very cool. It's a cool stadium. It does feel like.
Well, it better be with all that money.
It feels like a stadium. It feels good. It doesn't feel like a little VFL kind of. It feels like a big deal. So despite its measurements, it's a cool place to go. I thought it was cool.
Fair enough. Speaking of cool, you can see that Fremantle have really cooled off every time they get on the plane
Yeah.
to travel to
You
Victoria.
think that's it?
I don't know. They've been
You
pretty
think it's
bad.
the travel?
They've been pretty bad the 3 times that
I
they've
think
come
they
here.
were just outcoached.
They were destroyed by Geelong, then gave
Outcoached.
Melbourne their first win, and then they got destroyed by you guys.
There was another, wasn't? Well, Freo beat Richmond in Barossa, so maybe they just need to play in more wine regions.
Yeah.
I just think they got outcoached in most of those games.
Potentially.
Well,
Not
I
to-
think
yeah.
I think it's pretty clear that they do need a change as a coach.
I
Like,
wasn't even
'cause you said
saying
they were
that.
mid.
I
You
just,
said they were mid.
I just think
they
that-
are mid and they shouldn't be mid. They've got one of the best lists
You
in the
could say that
competition.
about Carlton, though.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
She said that.
Freo's got a much better list than Carlton.
You think so?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they've got better depth.
But I was going to say better
Okay.
depth.
Maybe
Carlton
that's
have got
it,
the
the
more star-studded
Yeah.
front
Yeah.
page
And then
guys.
Yeah.
There's
But
nowhere to go
the-
after that.
The 25 player, the Freo's top 26 players, that should get them into top 4 contention, and they're just not getting it done at the minute. I think they need a fresh start with a new coach. Not sure who would that be, of course, but yeah, I think it is time to just. I think Longmuir's had a fair crack at getting.
How long has he been there?
6 years. One
yeah.
finals appearance, and that
Yeah.
was in the middle of his tenure.
Yeah.
This is the 3rd season without it now.
Yeah.
If they don't make it, so it's
Right.
like it's a long time.
Oh, and you can't forget the way last year played out when your boys knocked off the Blues. And then it was like, and then it came down, and the Freo supporters
They lost
were
their
celebrating.
mind. Yeah.
They were
I know.
celebrating in the seats. They're like,
Yeah.
thank you, St Kilda.
We made finals.
Only for what? For their team to get smacked at home by Port. Like, it was so bizarre.
Finally,
Hey.
the last game of the season was worth watching, and it
Correct.
just
And then
And
it was so
how-
anticlimactic.
How great was it that Port got smashed by the Bulldogs?
Oh, they got smashed.
Oh, so karmic.
so
karmic.
karmic.
Yeah.
Karmic, I like that. Why is it
Because-
karmic? though?
Carmack.
Well, for me, because there was this big talk about, us being smashed by the Bulldogs and how
Oh,
we were
right.
terrible because of it. And Port went ahead and did it. So I reckon they're terrible too.
Oh.
I don't know what's going on with them. Speaking of people who should be better than they are,
Port Adelaide.
I mean,
I don't know. Should they though?
are they just overrated?
Who's rating them so highly? Is
Kane
my
Corn.
question. Oh yeah, Kane.
Oh,
I
here we
mean,
go.
He'll always rate his boys.
Yeah, but who? I mean, I think that there has been a lot of talk for quite a few years about Zach Butters and the midfield and Jason Horne-Francis in the midfield and all the talent that they have over there, but they seem kind of shit this season. So I don't know.
They've got to hold on to Butters.
They got a
He
great,
might be going. Butters might be gone.
they got a great midfield, but their back line and forward line's just
Yeah, but
awful.
I don't know. The game's kind of won and lost in the midfield. It's just not working. I think if you're losing in this kind of football, you're losing because of your midfield.
No way they're losing because of their midfield.
think that-
they're
I
not.
think they
They
are.
can't do anything more in that midfield. Their back line and forward line doesn't hold up for top 8 teams.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I still think they stink. I think they're all overrated. All of them. Sorry.
The most exciting thing about the Lions. Yeah, so Port, really interesting position to be in. I don't know how much of it has to come down to Hinkley. We know that his time's up. You know, like, is it a bit of a gap year?
So you don't think their forwards are any good? You don't think
No.
Rioli's any good?
Who?
None of these got Rioli.
Rioli? Oh, he's a
Playing
flog.
that-
I think
You
he's.
think he stinks?
I think he's a.
He's all right, though,
What about-
as
He
a
gets
player.
the absolute best out of himself, Willie Rioli.
So he's
Georgiades is a good key
He's a
forward.
great key forward.
Yeah.
Right. What about Georgiades?
He's good.
So why is he no good? What's going on?
He is good.
No, but the
Oh.
overall balance of the forward line, it's just a bunch of kids and Georgiades and Rioli.
And
Really.
Georgiades himself isn't that old or experienced either.
No. And he's had a great season.
He has had a great season,
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
they're collectively
Marshall,
overrated.
Marshall injured.
They're
know.
collectively overrated, is what we're saying.
Yeah, but who's rating them though?
I
Can
don't
corn,
know.
she said.
Well,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people
I don't
thought
think-
they'd make the 8 this year. I think some
Aw.
of you guys were kind of like,
Not me.
maybe Port would get.
No, we didn't. Well, I didn't have Port in the 8.
No,
Some
I don't
people
think
did.
Port are that great personally. I
Okay,
prefer the
great.
Crows
Maybe
over
I'm
Port.
wrong.
I think
Maybe nobody's rated them. I just,
maybe no one's ready.
Maybe
I
it's just your
believe-
cane corns hatred coming out.
I just.
There's a lot of,
Maybe I personally expected more of that team
Yeah.
this season.
Maybe you've overrated them.
Yeah, in my head, maybe I did. I overthought them.
We're all individual thinkers here.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
It's true.
We can
Maybe
have
I
different
did.
opinions, guys.
We do
Absolutely.
have different
I
opinions.
love it. None of this is scripted, by the way. I don't know if you can tell.
You can, of course. Well, I've got. Well, I want to do that like a separate. Yeah, but Gold Coast.
Yeah, Gold
Gold
Coast.
Coast.
You'll have to
Brisbane.
clip that and the Volcanna one together.
Yeah,
Gold
Gold
Coast
Coast suck.
and,
No, I'm just joking.
No,
They
I
don't
mean,
suck.
but Dimmer lost, which made me happy.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I
I don't know.
agree.
How'd you guys feel about? Did you see any of that game?
I watched the
Ben
first
King
half of
only
it.
kicked one goal, which is good because it keeps Higo in there running
Yeah.
for the Coleman, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
For now,
I watched
Ju-
the first half of that
Yeah,
game.
just a game of all time, really.
it's kind of boring, wasn't it?
Wasn't much to take home. Brisbane continue to be great. And,
Yeah. Hey, who would you say
Gold
better,
Coast still have
Brisbane or
learning to do.
Collingwood?
Sorry?
Who's better, Brisbane or Collingwood?
I would go Collingwood.
Collingwood's in
at this
better form
stage.
at the moment.
I'd go Collingwood, but
Okay.
I won't dispute anyone saying Brisbane.
Yeah, Collingwood's
I
in
think
better form.
they're we could be looking at a 2023 grand final replay the
You
way
think?
it's going.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. My top tier is Collingwood, Brisbane, Geelong at
Yes.
the minute.
That's
so-
boring.
yeah,
Speaking of boring, I just think that's boring. Repeat.
Yeah?
Rinse, wash, repeat.
Well, that's the
then the
reason
other
why.
teams need to lift their game.
That's the reason why they're the envy of the
Ah.
land, because these clubs are run so well.
What is
You know?
happening with the Giants, speaking of? Because they're just looking a
yeah,
little
what's
bit
that 3 on the trot?
they're-
They've
yeah,
lost.
kind of, yeah,
I
they're
don't know
not.
how to read them.
Yeah.
I tipped them. They're the only tip I got wrong last week. I thought they'd
I thought
get
they were
up,
going to win that game. Yeah, I did too.
but they just don't look like themselves.
Yeah, I didn't see enough of that game to have a full read on it, but I think we knew. Like we've seen Giants over the past few years. They aren't a great home and away team, but they're always dangerously looming come finals time. I mean, they obviously choked those
Two finals.
last year, but it's impressive to put themselves in that position against the 2 grand finalists. So,
Yep.
I mean, if you hold the game, if you finish out the game better, then Giants likely are in a grand final last year. But I think they'll be fine. I think Adam Kingsley is one of the best coaches in the comp. I think they've got one of the stronger lists in the comp. So I think they'll be fine. But every team just goes through a bit of a rough patch, and I think we saw that last year with the Giants.
I think they're missing defensive mindset in the midfield. I think Briggs hasn't been as good as he
I'm
was.
disappointed about.
So Briggs has definitely had a downturn in form, and Finn Callahan's more of an offensive player. He's had certainly a great year to date, but it's very offensive. I think Tom Green, if he's not winning the ball, he's sort of getting exposed the other way as well. Josh Kelly's injured with a pretty severe hip injury. So it just feels like to me that their midfield mix isn't quite as strong as it used to be.
They're missing a Harry Perryman type midfielder, aren't they?
They're missing a big body defensive-minded midfielder.
They're
Exactly.
just really good at the start of the season.
Yeah,
They're
they
just
were.
in a slump. I guess.
but they're just conceding too many inside 50s. Like, I know they like to defend that way because they have such great defensive
Yeah.
targets in there, but there's only so many inside 50s you can concede before, you know, even Taylor's a human being at the end of the day. And, you know, if it's not his direct opponent that's getting beat and he's like bringing the ball to ground, but the smaller defenders can get to work. Ash is a distributor. Whitfield's a runner off there. Like, are they the most defensive lockdown players as well? I wouldn't say they are. So
No.
I feel like there needs to be a bit of a change at the Giants. I'm not a big
In terms
fan.
of what would you say?
I think they have to work on
A lineup
defense first. Yes, I think they have to work on defense
Because the
first.
data and the analytics still align to them being a very
Yeah,
strong team.
exactly.
But,
Oh yeah, they're a strong team. But
yeah.
if you're losing 3 in a row, that sometimes all it takes is a small little adjustment that can then lead to bigger things, I suppose, elsewhere. So I think
You don't think it's a mental slump? You don't
No, I
think they're
think-
tired and they need the bye just to come back? Like they need.
No,
to
I
just-
think they just need a slight tweak structurally. I think, and then it just unlocks things again for them.
The game was interesting. I watched a lot of the Swans Giants game. It was interesting because they tried to arrest the momentum, but then they just couldn't, which was weird to me because usually they're just a lot better at that. Yeah, they had moments where they looked really great, and then
I think Brent Daniels is
huge.
it Brent or Brett? I actually don't remember.
Brett.
We'll go Brent Daniels. I'm pretty sure it's Brent Daniels. Yeah, it is Brent Daniels.
I'm not even.
It's one of them. Well, he's really sort of that defensive minded midfielder that can move half, that can be that half forward, that can push into the stoppage. So I think they're just really missing him, and he's back in I think he might be back this week or next week. So he'll be a massive in.
Massive in.
Because
He'll
they
be
need
huge.
that type of player back. So they'll be right. The Giants, they're just in a bit of a slump. Alarm bells aren't ringing just yet for me.
I'd say there is I'd say that there's a slight alarm bell that
Would you say it's like
they need to adjust and try the adjustment ASAP.
Would you say it's like a practice fire alarm at
Yes,
work at
correct.
the minute?
Yes.
Not a oh shit, the kitchen's on fire.
Yeah, it's not the kitchen. You're sitting there on the fire, the house on fire.
Yeah.
I'm fine. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not like that
Yeah.
one. It's
a Bunsen burner in a science room at
correct.
the minute. Yeah.
I agree.
yeah.
Speaking of a slump,
Yes.
did any of you watch the Crows versus Carlton? Do you know what happened there?
Did you watch the game?
Yes,
I
I
didn't.
did.
You didn't?
Yes, I did.
Go, take us away.
What
While I
happened?
smile gleefully.
Tell me what happened.
Crows wanted to make a statement after a disappointing loss to Freo, and they were just absolutely outrunning Carlton. Carlton were stunned, and they just couldn't match what the Crows were doing, and Crows were just far too good at the end of the day. And that sort of surprised me how lackluster Carlton were that game. But
Is it a testimony to the Crows or to Carlton?
I think it's a mix of both. Like just Carlton, where was like entirely different to how they were against Geelong. Then Adelaide, entirely different to how they were against Fremantle.
Yeah.
So Adelaide are a strong side. Carlton, surprised they really laid down like that. I usually every week talk about how they're a confidence-based side, and
Yes.
They
That's
just-
why I'm
they ju-
surprised.
that's
I
what.
would've
Yeah. So they just didn't show up, and
They're too busy filling themselves up.
What?
I said last week that they were filling themselves up after winning those two
yeah.
games, and then they just got a bit carried away.
Yeah.
And then they went over to Adelaide, and they.
I thought of that in a totally different.
Oh, fair enough. You can do
Oh,
that. Yeah,
God.
you can do that if you want. Nah,
I was
but
like,
honestly,
what? Talking about extracurricular.
Carlton are Adelaide's bunnies. Like Adelaide just seems to beat them every time they go over there.
Well, they
it's
beat
a
us
terrible
too.
hunting
and
ground.
they won last year, I believe, against Adelaide, or was it in 2023? What was it? Sam Berry kicked the winning goal, really, for Adelaide
Yes.
at Marvel.
Yeah.
I forgot it was last year or the year
I
before.
think it was here before.
Oh, 2023. Jake.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
But Adelaide certainly, Carlton do not like Adelaide Oval. They really don't like Adelaide Oval. It's
well,
pretty
especially against
bonkers to me.
Adelaide. Especially against
Well,
Adelaide.
Adelaide love playing at home. Both South Australian teams are really good at home.
Yeah.
It's a real
Well,
fortress for them.
Not really this year. I mean, we beat Port Adelaide at home.
Yeah, Port Adelaide have been a bit hit or miss. Very hit or miss. But the Crows are really dynamic. I just love the Crows. And they have so many different people that can go through the midfield. Like,
Yeah.
you're saying how stagnant Carlton were. It's probably because they really have a set
I really
number
thought
of
they were
people that
going to
go
win
through
that
there.
game.
Yeah, they try a few things,
have
Carlton, of like
the height.
throwing Jesse Motlop in there, try to add a little bit more spark.
They've done that more
but
this year.
They've been trying to do that a fair bit because you've got the Fee-Fi Fum of Hewitt, Cripps, Walsh, all that
Chera.
type, Chera, all similar type of players where they want to add a bit of razzle dazzle with like Jesse Motlop. That's why they're probably shattered because they really need like a Tom Papley type to play about 30% CBAs just to spark things up
Or
a
a
bit.
Jagger Smith type.
They're in dire Jagger Smith.
He would have been perfect for it this year. It's actually
forward.
crazy.
They're just missing that dynamic small forward where I know a lot of people hung shit for Carlton getting rid of Voes, but I thought it made total sense. They just need to
agreed.
find that next one. Who's that next guy? I think it can be Jesse Motlop, but he stagnated a little bit after a really strong start to the season.
Yeah. I thought they did all right at the start.
Durden's looking all right,
Durden
actually.
looks all right.
Durden looks...
Yeah.
He's talented.
I actually don't know what their problem is, to be honest. I can't. Maybe I don't watch
I
them
think-
enough to...
Yeah,
You said it before.
It's similar to...
It's the depth problem.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be the
If
depth.
the top players aren't firing,
Right. There's nobody to carry the
Who's
weight
next?
other than Patty Cripps.
They got a
who's
good top six.
consistently
Their
good.
middle six is probably below par
Yeah.
in terms of current form. And then their bottom six is just a few youngsters, that type
But
of thing.
I
So
al-
they'll eventually become good. But I think their middle, so their top 8 players are great. Their middle 8 players, their 9th to 16th best player are either in bad form or you just don't want them to be in your top 16 best players.
Right. But I think also the
Like-
top 8 players are great, but other than Patty Cripps, I think they're kind of inconsistently great. Like some of
Yeah.
them have great games and then
Yep.
they go quiet for a bit. Like they're not really all great at the same
Yeah,
time.
like Doherty slowing up. Blake Acres has
Yeah.
been in
Yeah,
very
like they're
poor
not-
form.
he has.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're not like in sync in that way where they're all
Yeah.
firing on all. I'm
Yeah,
sure next
yeah.
week
Like-
they will because I've said something and
Nick Haynes is a
gone and
shoe-in
said
for the
something.
side each week, and he's
Yeah.
had his inconsistent moments where he looks good, but also he's really struggled sometimes. So, I think the depth is a problem, and I also think it's a coaching problem where I think their lack of creativity to go inside 50 is continuing to haunt them a fair bit. But Ollie Hollands, shout out to Ollie Hollands, he's lifted this game over the past few weeks as Carlton have had some better form, but
Yeah.
there's still some massive question marks that need to be answered.
yeah.
But I think it's just the Crows are so offensively powerful with so many options. We obviously
Yep.
know about Fogarty, Thilthorpe, Tex, but you also have Rankin, Rochelle, Dawson played a lot more forward as
Neil
well.
Bullen.
Neil
What a
Bullen
great pickup.
has got to be the sneaky recruit of the year.
He was my call for recruit of the year. It probably won't happen because of how underrated he is as a player.
Correct.
But he's exactly what they need to kick Lockie Murphy out the team, really.
And Worrell almost single-handedly shut down that backline. for them.
Worrell, Michael Annie, and
Unbelievable.
Yep.
So good.
Who's their other medium?
And that
tall?
was
I
with
forgot.
Hinge out of the side.
Hin-
Miller was there.
Yeah, Miller. They got with Nick Murray as well.
Yes.
He didn't play, did he?
So,
No.
so are they top 14?
They're potentially, yes.
They're capable of it. I don't think they'll get there, but
Potentially. I can see them finishing between 4th and 6th.
Okay.
Potentially.
I've got them 5th to 8th, but I love the 4th to 6th out. They're capable of it. Knicks can make me question things sometimes.
Absolutely. Knicks can certainly do something silly.
Yeah. How about Keezer as well? Don't forget about Keezer.
Ke-
They,
Hayes
do,
is-
they,
of
they
course.
do have good hair.
Keezer,
Keys is very good as well.
Getting delisted
Resurgence.
from Brisbane after a few years, getting the odd game here and there. Queensland boy all of his life.
Yep.
Adelaide gave him the call, gave him the chance, started in the midfield throughout his career, and then moved into this very valuable half-forward role. And, he would have to be in contention for All-Australian at the minute. He best and fairest winner last year, I believe, as well. Keezer, tied with Dawson.
Potentially.
Yeah, so, Crows have just got players that Carlton lack for depth-wise, and
Better hair.
it showed on Saturday.
Yeah. Did you guys have any general feelings about North Melbourne keeping
I think
Kane
North
out of their
Melbourne-
locker room.
Yeah, I think North Melbourne, they're allowed to do what they want to do. If they want to media ban him, they can. But
Yes.
do I agree with it personally? I don't think Kane went as hard as they're making it out to be. Like, yeah, he's called out Sheasel, I guess, for being a stat patter, but he calls out a lot of players, I feel, and it's because you have a lot of high expectations for the caliber of player that he is, and it's the role that he's given. So if the club wants to defend him, they
You don't think
can.
that there's a bit of like a thorn in his side about North because they were mean to his like little silver sook spoon? I think he's just offended at how they treated Jason Horne-Francis, and he actually does get quite personal with that team. I think it's shitty.
I think Sheasel though.
It's not personal.
Yeah, I don't think
I think
anyone
he
hates
does.
Sheasel though.
Todd Viney called it as personal and bullying.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
It
it's
was not
totally
personal.
bullying.
It was not personal.
I think it's
what did he make
bullying.
what did Kane say that was personal about North
That he's a
Melbourne?
stat patter.
That
He's
is
Well,
stat-
he
that's
also
bad.
talked
outside
about
of the
like
game. He didn't say
you
anything
need to
outside
not
the
be
game.
rubbish. You have to win it. I mean, look.
Yeah, that's
North
footy
are a team
related.
that
That's
are
not personal.
But if it was warranted and it wasn't just a biased, ridiculous comment, I don't think it would be as bad. But he just says stuff without any. The thing is, like, he's got so much of a platform to use it to just disparage players the way he does. I think it's gross. Like, he can use it in a better way. He can be controversial in a better way. He doesn't have to single out players because he's offended that someone treated one of his players badly.
Well, Sheasel didn't treat Horne-Francis
That's
badly
right,
though.
but that's right. Well, he also said things about Jai Simpkin, right? Like he doesn't win enough games to have any kind of say in what goes on with Jason Horne-Francis. Like he can't be critical.
Well, I feel like you've got something to show about Jai Simpkin potentially.
Huh?
Do you have something to say in relation to Jai Simpkin?
No,
Such as his numbers?
Oh no.
Is he wrong? Like what's
I just
Simpkin?
don't understand his like need to criticize player.
But
I
it's a
don't
fact.
think Kane
It's a
Corn was
fact.
a good enough player that he can come out and criticize other players the way that he does. If he was an all-star player and he had all of these accolades behind him for his experience playing football.
Played 300 plus games,
I
Hall of
get-
Famer,
oh,
Port Adelaide
okay.
Hall of Famer.
Okay, mate.
Yeah.
But he
Okay, mate.
Okay, mate.
okay. Let's
I
talk
won.
about, let's talk about the stats.
I won.
Let's talk about the stats. Let's talk about the stats.
All right.
For
Yeah, well,
Kane Corn's average.
listen in.
Yeah, I'm listening,
Let's see
man.
if I can do this right.
We've got some research.
I did,
What
'cause
is
I
this
got
podcast
irritated
turning
about
into?
this.
We've got
Okay,
research.
career highs for Kane Corn. Can I just do Kane Corn versus Jack McRae playing
Of
Fremantle?
course. Yep, sure.
Jack McRae plays one game against Fremantle, right? The disposals for Jack McRae were 38.
Okay.
Career high for Kane Corn, 41.
Wow.
Kane
Kane Corn's got 41 disposals one time.
Hey, wait. Let's look
sorry.
at some more stats.
Sorry, we're not supposed to be impressed.
Let's
Sorry.
look at more stats. Is that impressive?
41 disposals
For a career?
is your
career
highest. Yeah, it's.
High? Okay. Well, career
Him
high.
and McRae were entirely different players as well.
Hey,
Well,
hey.
they're both midfielders.
Don't shoot this down
They're
yet.
both
We've just
midfielders.
started.
Wait, career high disposals for Jack McRae is 47, right? Kicks for Kane Corn, 25. McRae, 29. Handballs, 28. McRae, 29. Marks, career high, 16. McRae, okay, 14. Let's give him a couple more years. Goals, only one more than Jack McRae, 3 to 4. Goal assists, Kane Corn 3, Jack McRae 4. Tackles, career high 15, Jack McRae 13. Hitouts, they're tied there. Clearances, 10, Jack McRae 14. Let's go inside 50s.
These numbers are
8,
really similar,
Jack
aren't they?
McRae 11. I don't know. I just feel like
They're really similar
How have you
numbers.
pointed out hitouts
really
when
feel that.
they're midfielders?
well, I
They're
don't
the
know. I'm just
same.
looking at the
0.
stats. I'm just looking at the stats.
Look at the stats.
I just feel like he's not in a position. Like he was very critical of Jack McRae and what a poor midfielder he is.
Right.
And here he is playing better, in a lot of ways, better football than Kane Corn did. So I'm just, kind of garbage, Kane. It's kind of garbage.
You can tell him that. Absolutely.
You played like garbage, and you're picking on other people. I think it's shitty, as he did.
Yeah, so he shouldn't be calling
I mean,
anyone
how
trash.
dare
Because
you?
essentially he's calling himself trash.
Yeah. I just think it's stupid.
Boom.
I probably should have put that on there. My point is,
Yes.
he is calling players trash, and his record is very similar, if not worse, than them. Okay? Even Jai Simpkin, when we looked at it,
Yes. Off the air.
very off the air, sorry. Very similar in stats. I think he'd probably be offended to say that, but they're not that far off. So you know
Fair.
what? I just don't think he's in a position to be that critical. If you're going to talk the talk, you should have walked the walk.
Boom.
You didn't, so shut up. You know? How good is your opinion?
I want to drop this mic somehow, but yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm not a volcano. I'm just an angry supporter.
You're a
of the Saints.
Volcanna. You're not
I'm
Volcano.
an angry Saints supporter who feels like he picks on my team quite a bit.
And you're
so
defending Jack
I'm-
McRae's honour.
I am defending McRae. I'm defending North Melbourne because those are two teams that I like. They often get the shit end of the stick, and Kane then shows up like to fight the fucking battle against the bottom end of the ladder. Like, shut up.
It's so funny. He even posted on the socials. It was good to be inside the change
Yeah, I
rooms
saw
of
that.
the team.
The winning team. It's like,
we were the winning team.
yeah, it's mean though.
Look, it's hard to feel. It was hard to feel like a winner walking away from that game.
No,
Yeah.
It was
it's hard to feel like a winner when you were never that good of a football player either.
So he's the biggest bully in the AFL at this point in time.
100%.
And you don't think it's good for the competition that he's saying what he's saying?
Not in that way, no. I think you can do that in a much less direct way.
There you go.
I think
Constructive
you can
criticism is
Is
better.
that sounds like a downer, but not constructive criticism. Just don't be personal or direct unless it's absolutely 100% an incident that you're looking at.
Right.
I just don't think you should be that personal. I'm all for the rivalries. I like it when they fight at the games. I like it when people get into skerfuffles. I think it's the most fun ever. If you want to have fights on media, great. You want to pick out another media commentary that you don't like because you think their opinion's stupid, go ahead and do it. But don't pick on the kids that are playing footy and doing their best and are honestly struggling. That's
Yeah.
so gross to me.
Yeah. Look, Ross Lyon was getting in trouble for apparently picking on a kid.
He needed to do that.
He was picking on a kid. He was picking on
A-
Garcia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey. Who
And
got
then
best
what
and
happened?
fairest? Best and fairest.
Rising Star nom.
Rising Star. Shit. Rising Star nomination. Cut that out.
Best and fairest, Rising Star
Rising
nom.
Star, whatever.
Close enough.
Come on, I'm tired. I got here late. I'm not quite ready.
Yes, we know you got here late.
Sorry. I told him I was going to be late.
So there's
Rising
room.
Star.
There is room for the spray still.
Yeah, from
Love
your
it.
coach, not from a fucking media.
Agreed.
Pundit.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I think we should have all kinds of sprays.
Yeah, for sure. Has Sammy Mitchell been given sprays? I haven't noticed really.
Not this year. He has in the past though.
year's
The main one was Jack Scrimshaw last year in the Sydney game.
Yeah.
Did it
was
work?
That was the main one.
can't remember.
Not really. We lost by 80, but
But did it work for him? Did he respond?
yeah. The whole incident was there was a corridor kick late in the quarter, and which was super risky for that type, and it was a turnover, and Sydney went and kicked a goal, and Mitchell just lost it. There's been a few other times that I remember in his first season, 2022. It was actually against St Kilda quarter time. I think it was like 50-13, and he just went out. He just lost his mind at the midfield, and no, he's given out a few good sprays, and there's obviously with every coach we're not seeing everything, and
No.
there'd be plenty of sprays behind closed
Yeah.
doors, but
I think they're
Yeah.
sometimes needed.
Yeah.
You know, like
you can't have them every week, but there's got to be specific occasions where there would have been countless amount of instructions by the coach about
Yeah.
a specific thing.
Yep.
And it's usually system based
yes,
that coaches lose their mind on. It's not over missing goals
No,
or
it's
anything
not
or
like a
umpiring,
one
that sort of
thing.
thing. It's all system based. What they've been hammering them in every week in preseason, every week in team meetings, every
Exactly.
week throughout the season. And when something that a player should know and they don't do it, that's when they...
And that game, they played like... I mean, that was a hard game to watch as a St Kilda supporter, but probably as anybody.
It was the real pick-me-up that Garcia needed, really.
Yeah, I think he needed it. I think sometimes everybody needs it. I don't mean he in particular. I think Ross yelled at everybody. Like, he wasn't just singling out Garcia. It was part of a much larger picture of anger.
Yeah.
And, he was all smiles when Garcia kicked that goal. It was like a proud dad.
It was pretty nice.
I think he needed to do it.
I like the massive spray he gave to the MRO regarding
Me too.
The VFL.
your
and
top 10
That
pick,
was
Alex Tauru, the Viking.
Yeah.
Where they got... He got a 4-game suspension, which definitely didn't look like a 4-game suspension.
Wasn't.
And it wasn't a 4-game suspension, but they gave it that. Ross didn't have a problem with that. He had the problem with Sandringham so it's a VFL suspension.
Correct.
Of 4 games.
Right.
But Sandringham, because of the way the VFL's set up, they've got 2 buys in between
Correct.
that period. And that basically meant he's going to miss 6 weeks.
Correct. Which puts
for
him
a
out of
4-game
form.
suspension.
Yeah.
And finally, some common sense by the AFL for a change. They adjusted it so the suspension would start during one of their bye rounds. So
Right.
he misses 4 weeks, not 4 games in the VFL.
But how you have to have somebody be angry
exactly.
and make an announcement about it is just pathetic.
The lack of common courtesy knowing that is just
Because-
baffling. Wouldn't that be one of the things you check before giving a suspension like that?
I don't know. And like, what exactly are you trying to accomplish with the suspension? Because are you trying to ruin the kid's like debut? Or are you trying to protect a player? What's happening here? Like, what are you protecting by doing that and by not actually paying attention to a schedule? It's kind of just embarrassing for the AFL. I think it's embarrassing that for
We'll be
them
saying that a lot.
that it's been handled with such poor management. And then, to come out and go, oh, we care about play. You need to care about all the well-being of the players, not just to protect the head.
Here.
Okay? It's the whole well-being. And that's just sick to me. There were a couple of other crazy... I thought there was another suspension that I thought was ridiculous.
Curtis, that was...
Well, another
mental.
ridiculous. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. What are you doing? Like, it's not... The only message it's sending is that you're not making any sense and you're poorly managed. That's the
Correct.
message that you're giving to everybody who watches the AFL.
But
Good
you
job.
ask Laura Kane, and she'll tell you the umpiring has never been better.
No, please.
This
She
podcast.
didn't say it this year, did she?
She did.
She's just...
Again?
This year,
Yeah.
earlier this year.
She's just
Yeah.
useless to... No, what's the
Yeah.
point? Not at a job. Like, I know, not everything's sunshine and rainbows going on with the AFL at the
No.
minute, but she's useless to bring on a podcast or on radio.
Yeah.
You know what she's going to say.
has
You know what
talking
Andrew
points.
Dillon's going to say.
Yeah. It's a script. It's called a script. Okay. It's a script she's
Muy
reading
bien.
from. Anybody can do that. They can get a schmo off the street to come in and do it. I don't understand what the point. Don't do any pressers then. If
Yeah.
you're gonna say the same shit every single time.
Absolutely.
Well, nobody needs to hear that.
Yeah.
Well, we don't say the same shit every single time here on the
Well,
podcast.
except I do complain about something.
And we missed you for it. I think we had
I
like
did
2 or
miss you
3
guys.
Volcanna moments on this podcast today. Good to have you back.
Thanks. I don't want to be compared to that guy, but he does make me mad.
You do it with your own flair, and that's what we
Yeah.
love about you. So thanks you guys so much
Are
for
we done?
watching. Yeah,
Oh,
hope you
okay.
enjoyed. Yeah, as you can see, this is entirely unscripted.
Wah, wah.
We could go on forever. Hope you guys enjoyed
Yes.
what you had to hear or see here today. Gee, some of us are excited to get off the podcast. And if you did, please